The thought is this, is that God is beautiful. And beauty, in its most neutral and purest form, is God. Because he's the source of all that's wonderful and all that is truly beautiful. And so, as we see anything in the world today of any amount of beauty, it's reflective of who he is. And even if you take something like, here's a French example, Marcel Duchamp's, he's like it's a toilet, basically, a urinal, and it's art, and it is saying quite a bit. But you can look at that and say, well, is there anything beautiful about that? And in the UK, there's a lot of there's a movement towards ugliness, an artistic movement of ugliness.
Yeah.
And yet, the ideas behind these things reflect a certain beauty. Where does that come from? Especially from people who are openly rebelling against God. If God is even somewhere within the thought process that pushed them into these creative works. Well, the idea is that as God is the center of all that's, and the beginning of all that's truly beautiful, what they are reflecting is like a fractured or a shattered glass through which his beauty is now being put through it. And because the truth of what they're saying still comes from him. So, with this aside, Jesus is the human embodiment of all that's truly beautiful. And as at the time that he came, and then the time of the Acts of the Apostles, where you have this beautiful eruption of the gospel into Roman pagan world, what is beginning to touch them, of course, is the Holy Spirit, but the message that was preached was a beautiful message of a Jesus who saves, and showing him to be beautiful. And so in my context of Paris and the surrounding areas, we are a post-Christian society. And to quote a French philosopher, Catholic philosopher, Chantal de Sole, we're actually in our post-Christian society, we're actually returning to a Roman Empire type of paganism. And so these are the things I feel that as I'm going through and I'm advancing, is beginning to preach again that beautiful Jesus as he is and always has been to this society that may have heard his name or seen a church, but doesn't really know who he is. And perhaps what they do know has been more of the shattered, ugly side of his representations.
Yes, yes.